All right, this weekend in Silverstone, and we're reporting this early because Tim is actually going to Silverstone.
I am.
As you do most years.
I do.
And you love this track. You love going. The one pain in the ass
that.
thing about getting to Silverstone is getting there. Right? It's one little road in and one little road out.
It's, actually, you know what? Considering how many people attend this race, which there is a lot of, they do a good job of getting you in and getting you out, for the most part. It's like trying to find a spot to stay that is a little bit challenging because there's no like hotels that are close by. It's like staying in a barn. I've literally stayed
and that's what you're doing
in a barn. So this year doing the same thing, and they essentially some of the rural areas, what they'll do is with old school barns, they'll turn them into Airbnbs, and they're actually like really nice. Yeah.
Are you staying with people?
No, I'm staying on my own this year.
Oh, you're just gonna be a lonely boy.
I don't want to be a lonely boy, Adam. I don't like being a lonely boy.
So, okay, I got a question. When you get over there, and obviously you're doing some stuff for TSN, do they like hire a camera on the ground, or do they send somebody over?
Usually I kind of go by myself, but F1 is really good at helping us with some of the content and some of recording some of the content as well. Like sometimes they'll make like a locked off camera available for you to kind of do reports. But TSN's really great at like providing me with different types of cell phones that I can use to record content, to communicate back and forth with the folks back in the newsroom and stuff like that. So we always find a way of getting it done.
How about that? A sport that encourages its own media. Imagine that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, F1's really good that way. They look. I always find that whenever I make the effort, that they're always willing to sort of help and go above and beyond. And I think that's great. And again, though, Adam, like I don't know what it's like working with other media outlets, other sporting outlets. So
they're not always this way. I'll just put it that way.
Sorry, yeah. Like you guys, like Jesse and yourself would know, and Steve would know better than I would.
Yeah, it's sometimes a bit of a challenge with the the F1 sort of thing. Obviously, you know, with the movie coming out and Drive to Survive for most of the last decade or whatever, they very clearly want to do outreach and get to more people.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Tim, you know, when we roll back around here, I want to go through the various corners of this race. But what is it generally that people love so much about this, specifically the drivers?
The drivers just love the high-speed content of this entire track and some of the technical bits as well. Obviously, it's changed over the years. They have done some restructuring to the track and stuff like that. How is that invalid? Give me a break. That is such...
We could always just turn that off. We maybe should turn that setting off.
So annoying. Okay, sorry. Then let me continue. The drivers love obviously the high-speed sections of Cops, Maggots, Beckett's. Like even coming into here, like it's driving the car in and out of the corner. It's an incredible lap, really. I mean, and this is sort of where like an F1 car really comes to life, I would say. Because of all the downforces on the car, you really get to utilize it here.
Right. So here we go, starting a lap, all fresh.
I think it's going to be invalid, but sure.
The last one was invalidated, not this one though. Okay, so and obviously we don't have to go full time trial here. I love when you stop and you start and whatever.
Okay, all right.
So let's talk about some of these corners.
Yeah, so this is a complex sort of section here where it's a little frustrating because you're not actually going full tilt through these two turns that I'm kind of in between of at the middle, at the moment. And essentially, you kind of want to get the car just sort of settled and roll your way through it. It's kind of frustrating because the whole lap is really fast, but when you get to these technical bits, they really slow you down. And so essentially for here, it's always making sure you're getting back on the power as soon as possible, as aggressive as possible, but also making sure that this is like one steering input through a lot of it because you're going to trim so much speed when you're going through some of these sections. For here, it's kind of interesting. Like I'm still trying to figure out the amount of speed I can carry in because you can actually carry in a bit more into this section. Like you can carry speed to about here and you kind of want to diamond this section. And essentially,
what does diamond mean?
Yeah, like you want to drive straight in and then essentially you kind of want to take the car and go like that.
So it's a hard cut.
Yeah, pretty much. So like we're out to here and you're carrying speed, but then you want to cut right in, and you want to make sure the car is settled enough and the trajectory is just spot on so you can get back to full power. And as you're getting back to full power, if your trajectory is like spot on, you should be exiting like we did here out to this green sort of spot, like your left-hand tire.
And you're really leveraging what you have available.
As much of the track as possible. But again, if you sort of screw up that second phase of the corner when you're turning in, like you can easily go off and into the wall, like no problem. So it's very like technical in that respect, and you're also, you know, you're hauling ass. Right?
Yeah.
Like you're friggin' flying. So once we get back up to speed, we're gonna get to another really, really fast part of the track. It's one of my favorites. This never used to be flat, but it is flat. So cops flat out through here. You're in 8th gear. As you come up to this Beckett's complex, for the first part of it, you know, the car can handle going over quite a bit of the curbing. You want to straight line this as much as possible, so you're not trimming speed when you're turning the wheel, right? Because every time you turn the wheel, you're going to scrub speed. So these two sections here can pretty much be straight lined, and you're carrying speed, you're full throttle. You take a lot of that curb as well. And coming into here, it's the turn in that's just so important. Like you want to make sure you're turning in and sort of getting as close to these, I'm kind of on them, but as close to these orange curbing here.
Yeah, as possible.
Yeah, as possible. Because essentially, again, when you make that one turn in, it's a little early, and where we're positioned in the car, it's actually a little bit blind. So the drivers really need a good reference to actually see when to turn the car in, because you're basically going flat out, like 8th gear, whatever. But once you've committed, it's then apexing and then getting on the brake, like peak pressure really quickly. And then you want to make sure the steering wheel is straight when you're braking, and you're going down probably, so far I've gotten it around 4th gear, carrying the speed. But you want to be back on the power, full throttle, as early as possible coming out. But the only problem with that is that if you get too aggressive with it, if you're on the power too soon, you can easily like come all the way out to here, right? And then your lap time's you're toast, right? Yeah. You're going over the grass. You're probably going through the DRS sign. Yeah. So it's it's one of those fine lines that you're trying to navigate coming out of there.
Got it.
And so that's what makes it like such a challenge. It's extremely high speed, but also the particulars of the corner are really important. For coming up to here, again, you want to drive the car in as hard as possible. But again, a little bit of the brake, downshifting, and it's real easy to understeer and go off track here. Super easy to do that. So it's, again, making sure your references are proper. And then I've been overcooking the brakes a lot coming into this section. It's just so slow. It feels like, and it probably is, the slowest part of the racetrack. And this is
the last sort of corner before the straightaway.
Essentially, and you're all juiced up because you've gone through all this high speed content that you're just like, you kind of want more.
You want to blast through
this. You just want, you're just really aggressive at this moment. And you're just wanting to attack everything. You come to here and you just can't do that. You have to remind yourself to brake a little earlier, downshift in around 2nd gear, make sure the car is stable. Again, like a fiddly bit, right? Just really slow. You're waiting for this to end so you can get the hell out of the corner, and then flat out all the way through here. But again, turning the wheel, knowing when to turn it is very crucial, because the more you turn it, the more speed you're gonna scrub off the car. Through here, since we never really talked about it,
this is the first kind of corners.
Yeah, these are the first corners. Since this is such a technical part of the track, it's flat out through the first corner. But as you're coming to here, it's still flat out. You're still in 8th gear. But the problem is that if you're turning the wheel too much, you can hear the engine start to sort of like die down a bit, and you're like, oh, I've turned the wheel too much. So you always want to make sure you're just putting little tiny inputs into the wheel. You're turning in back there, but you're holding the steering in one position. So the car is going to come out to probably like around the middle of the track. You're still holding the wheel here, And since you're still holding the wheel in this one spot, it's going to come right back, and then you're going to straighten out just a bit, so you can have perfect straight line braking into this turn.
And when would you start braking?
You're braking.
Are you braking at 100 or 50 yards?
I'm using this right here, this little chunk.
So about 75.
Just before the black little checker square. I'm braking hard, very hard, in a straight line, as late as I can, and going down to, let me remember, I'm going down to 4th gear. And then as I'm turning in, I'm using the engine braking to slow me down a little more. So I'll go down to 3rd around here.
Okay.
But so I'm finding that when I'm going down to 3rd around here, and I've only done 9 laps, so I still need to sort of kind of piece it together. I'm still feeling that the gearing is not like 100% right, because it doesn't, I feel like it may be slowing it just a bit too much, but if I try to go a little bit faster, I'm noticing I'm getting a lot more understeer in the car. So I don't know if we need to work with the differential settings on this thing. And again, we haven't really experimented with that yet, so I don't really know what that would feel like. But again, I'm getting down to 2nd for here, only because 3rd is I'm not getting good drivability out of the corner, where with 2nd, I'm able to just squeeze the power back on, and I'm getting better drivability. So again, driving style, it's a toss up. Like
a lot more technical than it looks.
Yeah, exactly.
On this track.
Yeah, and you're trying to kind of piece the lap together as you sort of go along. And it's all driver preference. Like what do you like? How do you like to attack? Do you like to be aggressive on the brakes? I do. Do you like to be aggressive with attacking apexes? I do. Do I like to be aggressive with the throttle coming out of the corner? I don't. I usually am very smooth at the throttle, getting the car out of the corner, but getting into the corner,
see, I would struggle with that. I'm like, slam it right out of the corner, right? Which is always a terrible idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you're going to get so much wheel spin, but if you can manage it, then it may work for you, right? Like I know some drivers that are super aggressive with the throttle, like coming out of a corner, and they're just sawing away at the steering wheel, like correcting as they go along. But I always find, for me, that's the slowest way of doing it, because you're doing so much with the steering wheel that you're scrubbing speeds in different ways. And so again, it's all style and preference, right? How you like to go about it, really, essentially. It's what it boils down to.
Got it. Okay, let's do a lap here, Tim. See how the finish strong here.
Well, we'll finish this, and then we'll try and put a lap together. But again, like I said, it's complex. Trying to put the lap. And the funny thing is with this track that I'm finding is that a lap is, even though it's long, it doesn't feel like it. If that makes any sense. Like it just feels like it goes by very quickly. I always forget to hit the DRS. Always. This doesn't even matter. See, I've been trying to convince Adam that he's got to go to this race.
I know. I do. It's on my bucket list. It's on my bucket list. I would die to go to this race. Even I would sit in the rain all day. I don't care. It usually gives us a little bit of weather.
For sure.
Okay, so here we go. Coming around the corner.
All right.
And we're off, and it's a serious lap. And by the way, Tim has done 2 clean laps in a row. They just happen to be the slowest laps he's ever done. So good for you, Tim. We're happy for you.
So where's my medal? My participation?
Well, I mean, listen, the EA Sports will give you one if you get through this third one, because it's the 3
Sports,
in a row.
do you hear that? Adam says you're supposed to give me a medal.
That's right.
I want my medal.
So I guess throughout the weekend, Tim is going to be obviously coming through with updates. And it's important to know, obviously, that we have our mid-weekend podcasts back every single weekend. So right after qualifying, Tim will try to get some sort of recording done as soon as possible. It's difficult to do because you got to leave the track to do it.
Yeah.
But while you're there, obviously we're going to get a full sort of upload and download of what is happening on this track. Do you have a sense of what kind of cars are going to do well here? Is there any sort of change in the field, or it should be sort of what we expect?
If it's cooler, I'm going to be interested to see.
No, invalidated lap.
There's no way. There's no way. No, this game, Adam. I think. Let me tell you. And then I just get frustrated and drive the car into the corner like that.
Right.
And so this is that braking section I was talking about.
Yeah, right in here.
See that? Look at that. I reminded myself.
Beautiful. Look at that. Okay.
See if I can get these two jokers in front of me.
Just catch him in this last little
Oh,
bit
is that my
here.
personal best? Or is that?
Yeah, that was your
Oh,
personal
and it was invalid?
And you. This and your next lap are invalidated.
Come
So,
on!
Tim, maybe we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching our track ride along. Not our favorite with the invalidated lap times, but maybe next one in Spa we'll have some better luck.